So, Simon Lloyd, big United fan, author of United with Dad. Welcome. Thanks for coming on. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm still getting over the fact I went to Old Trafford yesterday, and for the first time in my life, I put sun cream on my face at a football match. I don't think I've ever done that before. But yeah, not too bad. Obviously disappointed with the result yesterday, but all in all, I think there's a lot of positive from it.
Well, see, what you're doing there is you're having a balanced view.
Yeah, we're not allowed
I'm
that,
not
are you?
sure that doesn't
You just
track,
can't
does
go out
it?
on social media because you're not allowed to have balanced views.
Well, I mean, it's a key distinction to make early on, isn't it? Is you can be unhappy with losing, as we all are. No one's celebrating a defeat or having a parade like you put on your post.
Yeah,
But you can still see cause for optimism in there. You can see, right, it was terrible. It's now there's a great potential, or there's potential for it to get quite substantially better.
absolutely. I think a lot of things were good about yesterday. I think I was saying to a mate about this. I think that the problem I think United as a fan base have got now is that they are so scarred. We're all so scarred from what's gone the last couple of years. This as a coping mechanism, really. I think you just look for the negatives instinctively, and I kind of saw that yesterday. I'd put a post out on Twitter, X as it's now known, and I basically said that you know, obviously no one's happy about losing, but if you look at that performance yesterday, I thought were maybe comfortably is a bit strong, but they were definitely the better team. And it's not like Arsenal are a bad side. They knocked out Real Madrid out the Champions League last year. They were one of the better teams in the world last year. And United, I thought, controlled the game. And you look at last season now, there was so little in the way of controlling the games against teams that were far inferior to Arsenal as well. Um, I just thought it was a lot better. You could see the direction of travel yesterday. You could see the patterns of play. You could see. I thought physically, I thought the team looked a lot sharper, and maybe that's coloured a bit by how tepid they were towards the end of last season. But I thought they looked fitter. They seemed to press more aggressively. Um, yeah, there was a lot of positives. I thought I was, not happy walking away, but I was definitely positive about it. I just think it's a shame that instantly when you put that on social media, it's like, all right, well, Roy Keane said that people are happy about losing to Arsenal. Oh, like nobody was. It was just that when you think about how bleak things were last year, some of those games you walked away from last year in January, February time, it was awful. And you just think, well, what have I just watched there? And nobody could say. But yesterday, albeit in defeat, you could see what it was going towards. And I think that forward line, that's going to cause a lot of teams problems this year. They play that intensity against Fulham, for example. I think they'll do well. So yeah, good.
I think you and I mean, there's probably like 5 years between us, so we've been around a bit more. We've seen the glory years, so maybe that makes us a little bit calmer and in how we sort of digest everything, the reaction after the game. You can take a bit more of a step back. But I don't know, how would you generally assess the culture of immediate reaction on social media? Just, sort of 30-second clip of sound bites that just go far and wide, you know, before the players have left the pitch. And then
Yeah,
people
I
are
think
and circulating it.
yeah, I think it's Roy Keane. I've not seen exactly what he said yet, but I know a few people are sharing that particular quote or words to effect of what he said after the game yesterday. Roy Keane, we know he's great for a soundbite. I know he's very good at it. He was when he was a player. He coined the term prawn sandwich brigade, and he's always had that knack of coming up with these little terms that 25 years later we're still saying. But I just feel it is a bit reactionary. He's very good at it, but I think that is kind of what gets the shares now. And before you know it, you get a lot of people in the fan base now because social media works like that, doesn't it? It works on fury. It works that people have got to have strong opinions, and there can't be any balance, and two things can't be right at the same time. And I just think there's a predictability to it. But I thought if he has said that, because I would like to actually see what he said at some point, I think he's wide of the mark because nobody walking away from that ground yesterday was happy. It was just you could see that things are moving in the right direction. But I guess that's the nature of social media now and how much that influences actual broadcast media too. Because
Yeah.
I think if you look at Sky Sports, Micah Richards, Roy Keane, they're not always there because they give in-depth insight, are they? It's more because they will come up with a line that will go well on social media and will get shared quite a lot.
It's all about the numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think sadly a lot of people don't see that, especially within the fan base, and that's why you get, you know, it's why you get some of the characters that do so well with their own fan channels and stuff as well. And that's not me like saying all fan channels are bad because I know there's some people that do some really good work on them. Um, Especially that United. Well, that's fantastic if you ever get a chance to watch that. But
Oh
no,
my
I
days.
think that some of it, it is geared at just basically getting the most extreme opinion you can. And sadly, some people that maybe don't go to the ground as much as us, and maybe think that this is actually what United fans are like and what it's like in the ground, they kind of get the wrong impression, which is a shame.
I think you put it quite well there. Obviously we're both match going fans. I don't know about you, but going to games last season, there were points where I was dreading it. I was just thinking,
Yeah,
it's going to ruin the weekend.
yeah,
You
yeah,
kind of have to plan around being disappointed in that period.
yeah. And then you get to the point where it doesn't hurt anymore, and that's even worse in a way. You become quite numb towards it all, don't you? And you think, well,
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen. And even the games where United start well last year, because there were a couple, if you look hard enough, but the slightest moment and the slightest thing that went against them, you could see everything went. And that's not just that the players' heads dropping, the whole vibe in the stadium used to go. I didn't feel like yesterday when Arsenal scored. I felt like things were okay. And I thought it was really telling too at the end. And I don't know if this was picked up by the cameras, but towards last season, people were basically out of the ground with 5 minutes to go, weren't they? And I don't just mean like the odd few people that are trying to get back to the cars. Yesterday, at the end of the game, I was quite impressed by how many supporters actually stayed back and clapped them off the pitch. I thought that said something too yesterday that, generally, I think the feeling in the ground is, yeah, things are moving in the right direction here, even though the result wasn't quite what we wanted.
It needs to be kind of a full, proper, fresh start, doesn't it? Just like obviously
Yeah.
last season was last season. It was just its own
Mm.
sort of microclimate. It was just awful. Anything it
Yeah.
could. This season, it's a different team, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I think they need to be given a chance to show themselves as a new team, even though a lot of the players are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there were some mitigating circumstances last year. And I think that, if you look at what happened with bringing Ruben in as well and the new system, and it was quite a bold thing to do. And there was definitely a point last year, we talk about negatives. I remember I was on holiday the week before the Everton game away. And I was genuinely thinking we could actually go down here. And people were laughing it off. But in my head, things were going so badly. You just think somehow they'll just find a way of getting relegated. And it was absolutely probably, I want to say, the worst thing I've experienced as a United fan. It's probably not far off, in terms of like where they were. The worst period, and like the point where it's actually affecting your mood when you're not supposed to be thinking about football. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think when you think about how they had to make such a drastic change and stuff, and it was bold, and it maybe didn't go as they'd hoped last year. Hopefully now, as you said last year, the better times are ahead now, and we're through. Was it? He kept on banging on about a storm, didn't he? And the storm's going and all that. Hopefully
Yeah.
that's past now, and we're starting to see a little bit of a rebirth now, and things moving in the right direction.
Like you say, you got sunglasses on at the match, got sun cream on at the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
How's it gone?
Just keep that going. Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. So, thanks so much,
No problem.
legend. Really appreciate your time, top man.
No, thanks for having me on.